Okay, I'm going to get started because it is 2 minutes after. Okay, so as everybody knows, we're moving towards being paperless, and we will now be submitting paperwork through command instead of emailing. So the first thing that you should know, let me share my screen, is we have a document for you. So in our Google Drive folder, so in Google Drive, for you guys, it will be under Shared with Me. You have a folder called KW Select Resources. In here, we have under Training and Resources, submitting paperwork through command. So we have some recorded videos on little pieces of things that you need to know to submit paperwork through command. So these are here for you to access whenever you need them. So little things like if you have a fallen deal and then a new sale, how do you do that in command? I'm going to show you that today, but I just want you guys to know that these videos are here to help you when you get stuck on a Saturday. This is here. And then we also have this document here. So a few things to remember. Your opportunity name will be the property address. Once you know the closing date, you have to enter it into the estimated closing date. Again, I'm going to show you all of this today, but I just, again, want you to know that this is here. If you're representing buyers and sellers, that's two separate opportunities. And if you are representing a buyer and you're purchasing a for sale by owner property, there's a special checklist for that. That will make more sense to you once you know what I'm talking about. But again, I just want to point out this section for you. We built it for you to use, so please know that it exists. Okay, so first things first, in order to do this, you have to create an opportunity in command. So an opportunity is essentially like a transaction or a potential transaction. And in order to create an opportunity, your client associated with that transaction has to be in your contacts. So the first step is to create a contact with your client. So we'll go into contacts, and then in the top right, you can click add contact. Now, for those of you who are on a team, this is very important. You have two versions of command. So if you click on your name in the top right corner, this is only for people on teams. If you're an individual agent, ignore me for a minute. You have two versions. So you can see I'm on a team called staff. So this is my team name. So I have a profile, Erin Malcolm on the team staff, and then I have a profile, Erin Malcolm personal. If you're on a team, you always want to do everything in your team version. Okay, that allows the Rainmaker to see your opportunities. If there's an admin for the team, they can see the opportunities, and assuming that admin is dealing with the paperwork, that's very important. So that includes entering your contacts into the team version. If you put your contact in your personal version and then try to create an opportunity in your team version, it's going to say that contact doesn't exist. Okay. Maureen, you look confused.
Oh, nope, I'm just kind of reveling all through my head.
Basically, do everything in the team version.
Okay, is there anywhere, so I guess right now, I mean, Brooke and I both have our own command.
Yeah.
So is there going to be a way, if we use my command, for her recognition?
Yeah, she still logs into her own command, and she has this as well. So she'll see Brooke Roma, Ferguson Home Sales, and you see Maureen Ferguson Home Sales. So you still log into your own command, just both do everything in the team version.
Gotcha.
So if you're on a team, a helpful step is to go into your settings and then general settings and default account and switch it to your team. That will lessen the chance of you accidentally putting something in the wrong account. Okay. All right, back to contacts. Individual agents, you can start paying attention again. So we're going to create a contact. We're just going to click add contact up in the top right corner. And we're gonna do that's all that's required for paperwork submission. Obviously, if you want to keep a good database, you're going to need more than their name and email address. But for paperwork submission, this is all that we need. If they don't have an email address, just put in their phone number instead. Once you have that person in, you're just going to search for them here. Uh-oh, which one did I just create? Click on them, and now over on the right-hand side, there's a section that's called Opportunities, and then Create Opportunity. Everyone with me so far? Okay, I'll take silence as a yes. There is another way to do that. So there is the Opportunities section of Command. You can create them from there. But I'm just trying to make it as simple and short as possible for paperwork submission. Of course, if you're using Opportunities to track your business, to know your incoming GCI, you're definitely going to want to be looking at your pipeline and your opportunities, but that's not what this training is. For document submission, create your contact and then create opportunity right here is the simplest, quickest way. So everybody on this call only belongs to one market center. So this will never change. If you're on a team, make sure your team is selected here. Opportunity type, this is really important that you're choosing correctly. This is the only thing that cannot be edited later. Okay, so if you're doing a listing, make sure you choose listing. If you're representing a buyer, make sure you choose buyer. It's crucial that you choose properly. So I'm going to leave it on listing for this example. Yep. Anne?
I was just, so what if they're both? What if?
Then you do two opportunities.
Okay, thank you.
So the owner is if you're on a team, who on the team owns this transaction? So it's usually the rainmaker. Client, so Joe Smith is already filled in here because I created it within his contact. If there's two sellers, you can add the second one here. Again, they have to be in your contacts already. The opportunity name, we want this to be the transaction address. So once you know what the transaction address is, fill this in. If you don't know it from the start, you can edit it later, or if it changes. So if you have a buyer who's buying a property, it falls, then they get an accepted offer on a new property, you can change it. Tags is just for you to sort, to filter, things like that. So that's up to you if you use tags and up to you how you use them. A lot of people use them for where their transactions came from. So like what lead source, basically. Estimated closing date does have to get filled in once you know the closing date. I know it says estimated, so you can estimate it at the start, but once you actually know what the closing date is on the contract, please fill it in. The reason for that, that's how the brokers filter and sort the order that they review them in. So they review on by closing date. So if you do not fill in a closing date, you stay at the bottom of the list at all times. And then your file might get missed by the time it closes. So please fill that in, it's important. Estimated listing price, not important, not required. If you're only using this feature for document submission, you do not need to fill it in. Commission rate is required. However, for document submission, it doesn't matter if it's right. So if you put in 2.5% and you end up buying something that's only cooperating with 2.2, if you're only using this for document submission, you do not need to come fix it. Of course, if you're using it for your pipeline, keeping track of your income, you should keep it accurate. Opportunity phase and stage is where they are in the pipeline. So again, if you're only using this for document submission, it doesn't really matter. But if you're using it properly and keeping track of where your business is, you should be putting these in the right places. So is it an active listing or is it someone you're cultivating? Put this one in active. And then assignee is who on your team do you want to have access to this opportunity? So basically it would be the agent who's actually doing this transaction, probably the rainmaker if they review their agent's documents. And if you have an administrator, you would put them on there so they have access to it as well. If you're an individual agent, ignore that. So I am just going to close out of this and show you how quick this is to create with what you actually need, because people get really overwhelmed when I do this and say, oh my God, this is going to take me forever. I don't want to do this. So I'm going to show you how quick that actually is. Okay, so I'm in my contact. I click create opportunity. I choose listing. I'm going to add my second seller. I would change this. I know the address, fill in the closing date if I know it, throw in a commission rate, and create. So it really doesn't take any amount of time, okay? Then you just click on the opportunity. So here's the opportunity that I just created. That brings us into the opportunity. So you can see we're now in the opportunity section. If you need to edit anything, you click on this pencil. It's very faded until you're hovering over it. I don't know why it's so faded. People can never find it, but that's where it is. So if your buyer now is purchasing a different property, you can click edit and change the name of the opportunity. Okay. If the closing date changes, you can come change that. Whatever. Everyone good so far?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So we're going to move over to the Documents tab. If you're using DocuSign the way that we teach it, this should all be very familiar, because now you would click Start a Transaction to get to DocuSign. Everyone following along with that?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. So I'm going to put a couple documents in DocuSign. We don't care how you get your documents signed, obviously, but I just want to show you a nice time saver down the road if you're using DocuSign this way. Maureen, if you have your dot loop connected, this should work the exact same.
Perfect. Okay.
All right, so I'm not even going to get these documents signed because they don't need to be signed for this, but so I'm just going to show you. Obviously, I would in real life actually get these signed, but I'm just going to show you if you have documents in your DocuSign, how nice it is to add them to command. So now that we have signed documents, we're ready to submit them to the office. Okay, so remember I chose that it was a listing opportunity, so this is my listing. So over on the left here where it says pick checklist type, that's a drop down, and I have to choose which checklist I'm working in. Everybody on this call, except for Vince, is always going to choose standard. Vince, you will be choosing PEI because Wayne works in the PEI office. The commercial one, even if you have a commercial listing, that is only for our commercial team. They use 100% different paperwork than the rest of us. So don't touch that one. That's just for the KW commercial advisors. So if you're in the PEI office, you choose PEI. If you're in Nova Scotia, you're always going to choose standard. So we now have 3 portions of the checklist over here. So we have listed, under contract, and closed. So right now we're on listed, it's blue, and we have this list of documents. And guess what they are? Listing documents. So we have our working with the realtor, we have our sellers designated, input form, fin tracks, listing cut, PDS, leased equipment, condo docs, etc. So these are the documents that you may or may not have to submit when you have a listing. Working with the realtor, sellers designated, input form, listing cut are pretty much always required unless it's an exclusive listing. But pretty much always required. FinTrack is basically always required unless you're representing a bank or a church, but pretty much always required. These guys down here, it depends on the listing. If you are not listing a condo, you're not going to have condo docs to submit. That's fine. Just ignore it. Okay. People tend to get hung up on that and say, well, what do I add here? I don't have any condo docs. What do I put there? Just skip it. It's fine. So working with a realtor, we're just going to attach it to this placeholder. So because I have documents in DocuSign, right here where it says attach files from, I'm just going to change this to DocuSign. And now I can choose my documents that are in my DocuSign room.
Wow.
Okay, so Maureen, that should work the exact, oops,
Okay.
that should work the exact same if you are using Dotloop.
Okay.
Okay, so how easy was that to attach? Super, super simple.
Mhm.
If you don't have something in DocuSign, you can upload it from your computer. So let's say you have a listing and then you get let's say you're representing a buyer, you write an offer, you send it to the listing agent, they send it back to you accepted. That's not in your DocuSign necessarily. It may or may not be, but might not be. So if it's on your computer, all you do is click browse and upload it from your computer. So if you downloaded an attachment from an email, then it will likely be in your downloads and you can upload it here. Okay.
Awesome.
Once you have everything attached, you just click submit. So let's relate it back to what we're doing now. So currently we're emailing documents. So instead of attaching documents to an email, you're attaching them to a list. And then instead of clicking send on the email, we're clicking submit. That's really all it is. It's not much different. Clicking submit is very important. For some reason, people forget to do that, but just think of it like an email. If you don't click send, we're not going to get it. Okay, you have to click submit. So let me pop over. Actually, Jess, do you want to do?
I just did it.
Oh, okay, thanks. So I just got a Kelly notification. You can't see that, but I got a Kelly notification that says 789 Main Street compliance has been returned. So if you have Kelly on your phone, you will get a notification when the office deals with this opportunity. I also have an email that says 789 Main Street has a returned compliance folder. Down here, it says documents returned is my seller's designated and missing documents is FinTrack. So if I click on view opportunity in my email, it's going to take me exactly where I need to be. If for some reason you missed the email and the Kelly notification, you also get a notification up here. So I'm just going to dismiss that.
Excuse me, Erin, is that notification in command or would you get it on your KW email?
If they return something, so if you need to deal with it, they will click returned. You get an email to whatever email is in your command.
Okay.
You will get a notification to Kelly and to command whether they approve or return. It doesn't matter. You only get the email if they return it, which means there's something for you to deal with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So you can see the status of my checklist is now returned. I can see Jess marked my seller's designated as returned, and now there's a bubble here telling me why she returned it. So it says missing seller's signature on page 4. So now I know exactly what was wrong with this document and why she said it wasn't okay. I can also see that she marked my FinTrack as missing. Okay, so just think, not so much with a listing because you pretty much need everything at the start, but think of when you have a sale. So you submit your APS and maybe your counter, and maybe that's all for now. So then your deposit gets marked missing, your PDS, whatever else may be required for that sale. Every time you come look at this, you can quickly scan down this side and see what's marked missing and say, oh, I didn't upload that PDS yet. Upload it and click submit. How many times do you wonder, did I send that PDS into Joy? I can't remember. So you just send it again, or you spend 10 minutes searching through your emails to see if you already sent it. This will just tell you what is still missing and what you did not submit. Okay. So to fix this, because it's returned, I'm just going to click these 3 dots, click update, And then I would attach the proper fully signed SDBA. And then just click resubmit. Okay. And then when I get around to doing my FinTrack, I'll upload that. Although you should be doing it right away. So this is my listing. Now I get an accepted offer on my listing. All I have to do is click on under contract. And here's where I put all of those documents. So my agreement of purchase and sale, counter offer, trade record, sold cut, deposit, etc. Okay. So you don't build a new opportunity, you just move to the next portion of the checklist. Make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to attach a document here. I know it's not the right document, but. All right, so let's say this is my listing. I get an accepted offer. I upload my APS. The next day they call and it falls. They terminate. So I'm going to scroll to the bottom. I'm going to upload my termination. And then I get a new accepted offer. You do not need to build a new opportunity. All you have to do is when we're on the under contract portion, click under contract right here and click add version. Okay, so now we have under contract version 2. So before I click OK there, see how I have a document uploaded here and I have my termination here. When I do that, I click add version, I click create new version. I now have a blank checklist with nothing attached. So now I just upload my new accepted offer. Okay, so same thing when you're representing a buyer. If you terminate and then you go get an accepted offer on a new property, same thing. You're under contract, you're just going to create a second version. So I can still flip back and forth. I can go look at my original one if I need to go find something, but I'm going to primarily work in version 2 now. Okay. If you need to attach a document and there is no placeholder for it. So we did try to include as much as possible here. Almost everything exists. But for example, every checklist has 2 amendment placeholders. Let's say you have 3 amendments on this sale. All you have to do is there's 3 dots right here. Add document, amendment. Document type, I always choose addendum. It really doesn't matter what you click there. And then just attach that extra document that you didn't have a spot for. It just adds it to the bottom of the list. Okay, so that's anything at all. I can't think of any examples, but maybe there's an email that you really need to just have in the file. You know, sometimes you have those emails that you're like, this just needs to stay here. You could save that as a PDF and upload it here if you need the office to have record of something. Anything at all that there's no spot for, just add it here. Okay. Communication with the office. So there's no more emailing. All you have to do, again, click those 3 dots and click add comment. And this is how you communicate with the office. So if you put in the @ symbol, you can mention anybody associated with this. So all of the staff and brokers will automatically be there for you. And if you're on a team, all of your team members will be there. So if you need to let the office know that this deal's now firm, you're going to say @Lynn, this is firm. That ensures that she gets a notification and she sees it. Okay, so it's important that you mention her. If you just type in this is firm, she may not see it if you hadn't also submitted paperwork. Whenever you submit paperwork, it comes in a queue for us, but if you just send a message and not submit paperwork, it won't be in the queue. So it's really important that you do the @ and then click on whoever you need to have the notification, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if Margaret reviews your file, gives you your broker review in here and you need to reply to her, you click @Margaret and send whatever reply you need to reply.
Okay.
Okay. The only thing that you would still be emailing at this point is listing photos. If you have the office upload the photos to Paragon for you, you would upload your listing paperwork here, submit it, and then you would email Hillary the photos. There's no way to submit photos through here. Okay. Any questions?
Oh, that was good, Erin.
Did I miss anything, Jess or Hillary? No. It's something that, I mean, it's changed, so it's going to take you a second to get used to. When you do your first transaction this way, if you get stuck, reach out. We're here to help. There's also this folder in Google Drive, like I showed you at the start. So this document is a couple tips to remember. The opportunity name should be the property address. Once you know the closing date, enter it under estimated closing date. If you're representing both buyers and sellers, that's two separate opportunities. That's why I always say, think of an opportunity as a transaction. It's two transactions, right? So if you're if you have the listing and then you're representing the buyers as well, that is two transactions. It's two ends for you. So it's two separate opportunities. And if you're purchasing a for sale by owner property, there is a special checklist for that. So let me actually cover that quickly. So I did a listing opportunity here. So this says listed, and then these items here are listing paperwork. So what if it's a buyer? Let me go create a buyer opportunity really quickly. So here, this is why that is so important. It determines what paperwork is in that list. So when you have a buyer opportunity and then you need to pick your checklist type, there are now 4 options instead of 3. There will be 5 actually. I need to build a commercial one as well. So standard is going to be 99% of your transactions. Okay, so under consultation, so note this is consultation instead of listed because it's not a listing. So under consultation, you have buyer designated, working with a realtor, FinTrack, etc. Under contracts, pretty much always the same.
Question
Now there's a
you,
for sale by
Erin.
owner checklist. So if you are representing a buyer and they're purchasing a for sale by owner property, the required paperwork changes drastically. That's why we created its own checklist. So you can see under consultation, we now have seller customer status, FinTrack for the seller, WWR for the seller, power of attorney will for the seller if that applies, your buyer designated, your WWR for the buyer, your FinTrack for your buyer. Okay, so that's why it has its own checklist. It's so totally different. Of course, the under contract is going to be pretty much the same. But that's why for sale by owner has its own checklist. There is also a referral option here. If you want to use it, you don't have to. If you have a referral form, so let's say you sent an agent in Toronto a deal and you're getting the referral, you can still email that if you want to. Or if you prefer to keep everything in command so you can keep track of everything, you can do that here. So just if you have a listing cut, you can put it there, the referral form, and the only reason you would do a trade record sheet is if you're on a team and you need to tell us team splits for that referral fee. Otherwise, we don't need a trade record. Okay, so this one's optional if you use it or not. You can email those in if you want, because they're not truly a transaction. But some people prefer command now and want to keep absolutely everything in command. So this is just here if you're one of those people. And then of course the PEI checklist is for the PEI office.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because sometimes Wayne would ask me to fill this up to send files for the market centers, and do we really need to have like the consultation to fill that up? Because sometimes only the files that he's sending to me are found in under contract. So I would go directly under contract and submit files through there.
Well, you need to kick Wayne in the butt and tell him to give you the rest of the paperwork.
Okay.
Because yes, the stuff under consultation is also required.
Oh, okay.
He's just
I'll
not
tell
giving
them.
you everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? All right, so moving forward, everyone should now be using this to submit paperwork.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If it went over my mind, let's see if I can remember it again. Yes, when you're under buyer, you know how we sign a buyer, WWR and BDBA. We don't need to submit that until we actually get the offer in our hand, because I've never done that before.
Up to you. So this is
Okay.
actually a perk to Command, as now it's easy for you to do that.
Right.
Technically, we've always supposed to be getting those as soon as you sign them. But
Really? Okay.
imagine for us in the office, what we do with that paperwork. Like there's no sale file for us to put it
Right.
with, right? We can't
Right.
even make a file because we don't know what property it's for.
Exactly.
But now you could submit it and then we'll just basically move it to the side. And once you submit an accepted offer, then we can deal with it,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, I just
So-
don't want to add extra confusion, I guess.
It won't add confusion. When people email them, it does, because we're like, what do we do with this? Like there's no sale file to put it with.
Mhm.
But that is actually a beauty to this, is now you can submit it like you're supposed to, and it doesn't totally mess up the office.
Okay.
Okay, so moving forward, everyone should start using this. If you're in the middle of any transactions, do not use this for that transaction. So if you've already emailed in a listing, when you get a
Mhm.
sale on that listing, email it as well. If
Start
you're
fresh.
partway through a sale, maybe it's you have an accepted offer that you've emailed in, but it's not firm yet, you're still sending all the supporting documents, continue to email those. So just think in the office, if you email them, we print them and make a physical file. So if you then start putting them through Command, we have half of a physical file, half of it in Command, and it just doesn't work. So anything brand new can go in Command, anything halfway through, continue to email. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
But listings that we have now,
Mhm.
you don't want them added in now to Command? You already have them in paperwork, so.
If you're really frisky, you can upload it all to Command if you want, and just maybe send Hillary an email and say, you already have these listings, but I decided to put them in Command. And then she can just destroy the paper file, and then you can continue in Command when you get an accepted offer.
Only if
I'd
you're
like to
frisky.
do practice.
It's not necessary. We're not going to make you do that. But if you prefer to have everything in here, then you could do that if you want. But please just notify Hillary so she doesn't like double input a listing.
When
I
will
mean, she
this be
probably noticed that
compulsory?
the dates were in the past and not do it anyway, but
Okay.
hopefully.
When will it be compulsory that we use nothing but Command?
December 31st.
Whoa. All right.
So you might as well start trying now so you have some
Mhm.
time to
Yeah.
get a handle on it.
All right.
All right. Actually, once you take training, I mark you off as having taken the training. And then if you email anything new, we're going to tell you to put it in Command. So,
All right.
so now. But we are here to help. So when you do it, if you get stuck, just reach out to one of us and we will help get you through it.
Okay.
Even if you want to Zoom the first time you have something to submit,
Mhm.
just book a time with Jess or I and we can Zoom and you can share your screen and we'll walk you through uploading it.
Terrific.
All right. Well, if no one has any questions, that's all. All right. Bye. Thank
All right,
you.
thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.